far beyond the known trade routes of humanity, in a region where ancient empires ruled under cold stars. The Velkaris dominion stood as one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Their fleets were feared, their science unmatched by many younger species, and their royal bloodline traced back thousands of cycles. At the center of this empire ruled Queen Aerolith. She was known across systems as a leader who never hesitated. Her decisions were precise, calculated, and often ruthless when necessary. To her people, strength was survival. Weakness invited chaos, rebellion, and destruction. From a young age, Aerolith learned that emotions must never control leadership. She ruled with logic and discipline, shaping her court into a place where only competence mattered. Her eldest daughter, Princess Elira, reflected this philosophy perfectly. Elira trained daily in military strategy, diplomatic debate, and advanced combat simulations. She spoke with confidence and commanded attention whenever she entered a room. Many already believed she would surpass her mother as ruler one day. But the younger daughter, Princess Lynera, was different. Lynera did not enjoy combat drills or political games. She often spent her time studying alien cultures, reading historical records, or speaking with visitors from smaller worlds. She listened more than she spoke. She asked questions others ignored. Some nobles admired her kindness quietly, but most saw her as unsuitable for Velkaris leadership. Whispers spread through the palace. She lacks ambition. She is too gentle. She will weaken the dynasty. The queen never repeated such words publicly, but she observed her daughter carefully. Lynera avoided competition, showed little interest in power, and seemed uncomfortable during royal ceremonies. To Aerolith, this was troubling. A royal without strength could become a liability. As years passed, the pressure increased. Velkaris tradition required royal daughters to strengthen alliances through marriage. Elira attracted powerful suitors from advanced empires. Generals, rulers, and influential leaders competed for her attention. Lynera received none. Several minor nobles showed interest at first but withdrew after learning more about her reputation. Even lesser political families avoided the risk of aligning with someone considered unimportant. The queen felt frustration growing. Lynera's presence at court created imbalance. She was not strong enough to lead, yet too important to ignore. Then humanity entered the wider galactic stage. Humans were newcomers, recently discovered by exploration fleets. Compared to ancient species, their technology appeared crude, their political structures chaotic. Many older empires dismissed them as insignificant. However, humans showed unusual adaptability. They learned quickly, cooperated across cultural lines, and displayed surprising resilience. A diplomatic request arrived from Earth. Queen Aerolith agreed to receive a small human delegation, more out of curiosity than respect. Among the humans was Daniel Hale. He did not appear impressive at first glance. He wore simple diplomatic attire, carried no visible weapons, and spoke calmly even when surrounded by towering alien guards. Yet something about him drew attention. He listened carefully to every conversation. He noticed details others ignored. And despite standing before one of the most feared rulers in the galaxy, he showed no fear, only respect. During the meeting, Daniel spoke about humanity's desire for peaceful cooperation. He acknowledged humanity's current limitations, but emphasized their willingness to learn and contribute. Many council members dismissed him silently. The queen studied him. He did not try to appear stronger than he was. He spoke honestly, without arrogance or submission. After the meeting ended, an idea formed in her mind. Lynera needed a partner. Humans needed recognition. A marriage could solve both problems. When she announced her decision, shock rippled through the court. Princess Lynera would marry the human envoy. Lynera stood still when she heard the decree. She understood what it meant. She was being sent away, not as punishment, but as removal. Daniel was equally surprised, but requested a private conversation with the princess before accepting. Their meeting took place in a quiet garden overlooking the city lights. Lynera expected him to feel forced, but Daniel asked her simple questions. What do you enjoy studying? What do you want your life to be? No one had asked her that before. She spoke carefully at first, then more openly. She admitted she never felt comfortable competing for power. She wanted to help people understand each other. Daniel listened without judgment. He admitted he felt out of place among powerful empires too. By the end of the conversation, something changed. Neither felt trapped anymore. They agreed to the marriage. The ceremony was grand but emotionally distant. Nobles attended out of obligation rather than excitement. Some whispered that the queen had simply discarded her weaker child. Afterward, Lynera left Velcaris with Daniel. Life among humans felt strange at first. Earth cities were smaller than galactic capitals but full of energy. Humans argued loudly, laughed freely, and showed emotions openly. Daniel introduced her to diplomats, scientists, and community leaders. Unlike Velcaris' society, humans valued her curiosity. Her knowledge of alien cultures became useful. She helped resolve misunderstandings between species and humans during early negotiations. Slowly, Lynera began to grow into a role she never expected. Daniel supported her quietly. He never tried to lead her path but encouraged her ideas. Years passed. Human technology advanced rapidly through cooperation with other species. Small alliances formed, guided by diplomacy rather than conquest. Lynera became a bridge between cultures. She understood how powerful empires thought but also respected smaller civilizations. Many began trusting her. Back on Velcaris, Queen Aralith rarely thought about her younger daughter. Reports described peaceful activities but nothing politically significant. Until one day, a massive fleet appeared near Velcaris' borders. The ships displayed mixed designs, human and alien combined. Their technology readings stunned Velcaris scientists. The fleet requested diplomatic entry. When the communication screen activated, Lynera appeared. She stood confidently, no longer the quiet girl dismissed years ago. Beside her stood Daniel, calm and steady. Behind them were leaders from multiple species. Lynera spoke respectfully but firmly, requesting permission to return home. The queen felt something unfamiliar stir within her: uncertainty. As the fleet approached, citizens gathered to watch. These ships were not weak. They moved with precision, carrying strength without aggression. During the reunion, Lynera bowed formally, but the way others watched her revealed something new. She was no longer a forgotten princess. She was a leader. The queen observed silently as ambassadors deferred to her decisions. Military officers treated Daniel with respect. Reports soon confirmed the truth. Lynera and Daniel had helped create a powerful alliance focused on cooperation and defense. They resolved conflicts through diplomacy, attracting smaller worlds seeking protection. Human adaptability combined with Lynera's cultural understanding created something unexpected. A new kind of power. That night, Queen Aralith stood alone, watching human ships orbiting her world. For the first time, she wondered if she had misunderstood strength itself, and deep inside, a quiet realization began forming. Perhaps the daughter she had called useless had become something far greater. The arrival of Lynera's fleet changed the atmosphere of Velcaris completely. For generations, the Empire had stood above others, believing itself unmatched in strength and influence. Now, ships carrying unfamiliar technology circled their world, and their designs reflected cooperation between species that rarely trusted one another. Citizens gathered near observation towers, watching silently as the vessels moved with controlled precision. They were not aggressive, yet their presence carried undeniable power. Queen Aralith observed everything carefully. She did not allow her emotions to show, but her thoughts were far from calm. Her younger daughter had returned not as a forgotten princess, but as the center of something new. The royal council assembled quickly. Generals demanded analysis of the human fleet's capabilities. Scientists compared energy readings, struggling to understand how such rapid technological advancement had occurred. "They were behind us only years ago," one advisor said quietly. "This growth should not be possible." Another council member frowned. "Unless they learned from many species at once." The queen listened without interruption. When Lynera entered the chamber with Daniel and several allied representatives, the room fell silent. Many nobles expected hesitation from her, but she walked forward calmly, her posture balanced between humility and confidence. She bowed to her mother. "Your Majesty." Queen Aralith acknowledged her with a slight nod. "You have returned with impressive company." Lynera smiled gently. "We come as friends." Some council members shifted uncomfortably. The word friends sounded simple, but alliances in the galaxy were rarely built on trust alone. Daniel stepped forward respectfully but did not speak unless addressed. His quiet presence drew attention. Unlike the proud warriors of Velcaris, he seemed relaxed, almost ordinary, yet there was strength in the way he stood. The queen began questioning them. How did humanity advance so quickly? Lynera answered honestly. Humans focus on cooperation. They share knowledge openly. Instead of competing against every species, they build partnerships. Several nobles reacted with disbelief. To them, power was gained through dominance, not cooperation. Daniel finally spoke. Humans learned early that survival is easier when you help others succeed too. His words were simple, but they carried conviction. The meeting continued for hours. Reports showed that Lynera's alliance had stabilized several war-torn regions without large-scale battles. Instead of conquering, they negotiated agreements that protected smaller worlds. Some council members admired this approach. Others considered it naive. After the session ended, Queen Aerolith requested a private meeting with her daughter. They stood alone in a quiet chamber overlooking the capital city. For a moment, neither spoke. "You have changed," the queen said finally. Lynera answered softly. "So have you, mother. The empire feels different." Aerolith observed her carefully. The timid princess she remembered was gone. In her place stood someone calm, balanced, and quietly strong. "You surprised me," the queen admitted. Lynera hesitated, then said, "You sent me away because you thought I could not survive here." The queen did not deny it. "I believed you would struggle within Velkaris culture," she said honestly. "I chose what I believed would protect the empire." Lynera nodded slowly. She did not argue. Instead, she said, "Sometimes strength grows in unexpected places." Before the conversation could continue, an urgent message arrived from the fleet command. Unknown ships had appeared near the system's outer boundary. Large ones, silent, unidentified. The mood changed instantly. Velkaris defenses activated, and human vessels moved into coordinated positions without needing orders. Communication lines filled with rapid updates. Sensors detected advanced cloaking technology. The unknown fleet did not respond to diplomatic signals. Daniel joined the strategic discussion alongside Velkaris generals. At first, some officers resisted his presence, but Lynera insisted he remain. "He understands unpredictable threats," she said calmly. The queen allowed it. Data streams filled the command chamber. The unknown ships moved slowly but deliberately closer. "They are testing our defenses," a Velkaris commander said. Daniel studied the patterns carefully. "No," he replied quietly. "They are waiting for reaction. They want us to act first." The room fell silent. Queen Aerolith turned toward him. "Explain." "They position themselves just outside engagement range," Daniel said. "If we attack, they gain justification for escalation. Humans faced similar tactics during early space conflicts." Some officers exchanged uncertain looks, but the queen listened. "What do you recommend?" Daniel answered without hesitation. "Hold position, show strength without aggression." The queen considered this carefully. Velkaris' tradition favored decisive action, but something in his reasoning felt correct. She gave the order to hold defensive formation. Hours passed. The unknown fleet changed formation repeatedly, searching for weakness. Then unexpectedly, they launched a probe toward the planet. Velkaris weapons prepared to destroy it instantly, but Daniel raised a hand. "Wait," he said. Lynera trusted him and supported the delay. The probe scanned defenses and retreated. Moments later, the unknown fleet withdrew suddenly. Relief spread through the command center, but confusion remained. "They were evaluating us," Daniel said. "They will return stronger if they see fear or division." Queen Aerolith watched him carefully. He spoke not like a diplomat, but like someone who understood war deeply. Later, reports confirmed that several nearby systems experienced similar encounters. The same unknown ships appeared, tested defenses, and vanished. A new threat was emerging. The queen began meeting with Lynera and Daniel regularly. Slowly, she realized something unexpected. The human did not seek power or recognition. He offered insight only when necessary. He listened to others and adjusted plans based on new information. This flexibility impressed her. Meanwhile, political tension grew inside the Velkaris court. Some nobles resented Lynera's sudden influence. They questioned why a once-dismissed princess now stood beside the queen during strategic discussions. Rumors spread that the human alliance intended to weaken Velkaris' authority. Lynera sensed the unrest but remained calm. She spent time speaking with citizens, walking through markets, and listening to their concerns. People responded warmly. Her kindness, once considered weakness, now created loyalty. One evening, Queen Aerolith watched secretly from a distance as Lynara spoke with workers repairing damaged infrastructure. The princess knelt to speak at eye level, treating them as equals. The queen felt something shift inside her. Perhaps strength was not only measured by dominance. Days later, intelligence confirmed the unknown fleet belonged to an ancient faction rarely seen in modern times. They destroyed civilizations slowly, destabilizing regions before striking. Velkaris alone might survive, but smaller allied worlds would not. Lynara proposed uniting Velkaris with the Human Alliance for joint defense. Many council members resisted. "We do not need outsiders," one general argued. Daniel spoke calmly. "You are strong alone, but together we become unpredictable." The queen considered both sides carefully. For the first time, she hesitated before choosing, and deep inside, a realization grew stronger. Years ago, she believed marrying Lynara to a human removed weakness from her empire. Now she began to suspect that decision had created something far greater and far more dangerous than she ever imagined. The warning signals echoed across the Velkaris command center as new data arrived from deep space. The unknown fleet had returned, and this time they did not hide at the system's edge. Their ships moved directly toward Allied territories, cutting through smaller systems with cold efficiency. Reports arrived one after another. Outer colonies had lost communication. Trade routes were disrupted. Refugee ships began appearing near Velkaris borders, filled with frightened civilians from weaker worlds that had once trusted ancient empires for protection. Queen Aerolith stood before the main star map, her expression calm but intense. Around her, generals argued over defensive formations. Some demanded immediate attack, others advised retreat and protection of only core worlds. Lynara watched silently, feeling the weight of every decision. She knew these people. Many of the endangered systems were part of the alliance she had helped build with Daniel. Daniel himself studied tactical projections carefully. He rarely spoke quickly, choosing his words only after careful thought. "The enemy is not rushing," he said quietly. "They are pushing fear forward before they attack fully." A Velkaris commander frowned. "Fear does not matter to us." Daniel shook his head slightly. "It matters to smaller systems. If they lose hope, they surrender before the fight begins." The queen listened closely. She had seen many wars, but something about this conflict felt different. The enemy did not seek glory or negotiation. They advanced slowly, testing reactions, dividing alliances. Lynara stepped forward. "We must act together," she said. "Not just defend Velkaris, but protect everyone. That is why our alliance exists." Some council members protested. "We cannot risk our empire for outsiders." Queen Aerolith remained silent for a long moment. Years ago, she would have agreed instantly with that statement. But she remembered watching Lynara speak with ordinary citizens, remembered how smaller species rallied around her daughter's vision of cooperation. She turned toward Daniel. "If we follow your strategy, what are our chances?" Daniel answered honestly. "Unknown. But if we fight separately, the enemy wins slowly. If we unite, they face something unpredictable." The queen made her decision. Velkaris would join the alliance fully. Orders spread across fleets. Human ships moved alongside Velkaris war vessels, forming mixed formations that confused enemy sensors. Smaller allied worlds contributed support vessels, creating a diverse force unlike any seen before. As preparations continued, tension inside the royal court grew. Some nobles accused Lynara of influencing the queen too strongly. They feared losing traditional dominance. One evening, Aerolith summoned Lynara privately. The room felt quieter than usual. "You have changed this empire," the queen said slowly. Lynara lowered her gaze slightly. "I only wanted people to understand each other." The queen hesitated, then spoke words she rarely allowed herself to say. "I believed you were weak. I believed sending you away would protect us." Lynara did not respond immediately. "I was hurt when you made that decision," she said softly, "but leaving allowed me to find my own strength." Silence filled the room. "For the first time," the queen admitted, "I regret a decision." Lynara looked up, surprised. Aerolith continued, "Not because you failed. Because I failed to see who you truly were." Emotion passed between them quietly, unspoken but understood. Before the moment could deepen, alarms sounded again. The enemy fleet had entered direct engagement range. Space filled with movement as thousands of ships aligned for battle. The unknown enemy vessels were dark and angular, emitting strange energy patterns that interfered with targeting systems. The first exchange of fire lit the darkness like a storm of stars. Valkaris warships fired heavy energy beams, while human vessels used unpredictable maneuvers that confused enemy targeting algorithms. Daniel coordinated communication between fleets, translating tactical ideas across species quickly. The enemy attempted to isolate weaker ships, but mixed formations prevented easy separation. Still, losses began. Several Allied ships were destroyed, their signals fading into silence. Lynera watched the battle from the command deck, her hands steady but heart heavy. "We cannot win by matching their strength directly," she said. Daniel nodded. "They expect traditional warfare, we change the rules." He proposed a risky strategy. Instead of focusing on destroying enemy ships individually, they would target the coordination signals connecting the enemy fleet. Human engineers had developed adaptive software capable of disrupting centralized command patterns. Valkaris generals hesitated. The plan required human ships to move dangerously close to enemy formations. "I will lead the maneuver," Daniel said simply. Lynera's eyes widened. "It is too dangerous," he smiled gently. "Humans survive by doing the unexpected." Queen Aralith watched him carefully. Years ago, she saw only an ordinary man. Now she recognized something deeper, quiet courage. She approved the plan. Human ships accelerated forward, weaving between enemy formations with precision. Valkaris vessels provided heavy cover, absorbing incoming fire. The battlefield became chaos. Enemy targeting systems struggled to predict human movements, which relied on improvisation rather than rigid patterns. At the critical moment, human engineers activated disruption pulses. Enemy coordination signals flickered. Their formations broke. For the first time, confusion spread through the enemy fleet. Allied ships seized the opportunity, launching coordinated strikes that forced enemy vessels into retreat. The battle lasted hours. Finally, the unknown fleet withdrew, leaving damaged ships drifting in silence. Cheers erupted across communication channels. They had survived. More than that, they had won. Back on Valkaris, celebrations began, but the Queen remained thoughtful. Victory had come not from dominance alone, but from cooperation and adaptability. She walked alone to the balcony where she once watched Lynera depart years ago. Lynera joined her quietly. "The Empire is stronger because of you," the Queen said. Lynera shook her head gently. "Because of everyone, because we listen to each other." Aralith looked toward the stars where human ships still guarded their world. "I once believed strength meant standing above others," she said slowly. "Now I see it also means standing beside them." She turned toward her daughter. "Marrying you to the human was meant to remove weakness from my court. Instead, it brought strength I never imagined." Lynera smiled softly. "And do you regret it?" The Queen paused. "I regret only that I did not understand sooner." Peace slowly returned to the region. The alliance grew stronger, guided by shared trust rather than fear. Valkaris transformed from a solitary empire into a leading partner within a united galaxy. And as years passed, Queen Aralith often watched her daughter and the human who stood beside her, realizing that sometimes the choices made for the wrong reasons could still change the future for the better. The princess once called useless had become the bridge that saved countless worlds, and the human she underestimated had helped redefine what true strength meant.